Hello and welcome to the World Builders Library. This is the channel where if you want to make one episode, you might as well make three. Yeah, I wanted to world build religion for our eco-focused campaign series, but somehow decided it needed 2 episodes worth of setup. Just had to get in the right headspace, I guess. You get it, right? Despite all that, if you've just stumbled onto this video, I'm pretty sure you're fine watching it and nothing else. Always remember, my one and only goal is to inspire a few ideas in your already amazing world building process. Quick background. Armatage is an isolated mining community run by an adventuring team. Its current population is tiny, just a few hundred. The terrain is dry, and the town sits on the border between an arid grassland and hard-packed desert at a slightly higher elevation. There is electrum deposits all along this geological divide. A small lake fed by underground aquifers largely determined the exact location of the town. This is unorganized land unwanted by tribal governments to the south. The barbarian peoples sparsely occupy the land from an east-flowing river south for 1,000 miles to a place where the sea peoples occupy the coasts of a great ocean. Armatage's roots lie east. Sponsors support the exploration of these lands, hoping to exploit gold and other valuable resources. It's a week across the dry grass, a little quicker by boat if arrangements can be made. The homeland is an oligarchy ruled by nobles. In my opinion, the most likely of governments to form in a D&D style fantasy land. However, that's the subject of another video. Several hundred miles to the northwest, beyond the dry lands, are more civilized lands. But again, that is beyond the sphere of Armatage. So what's our philosophy of religion? What form does divinity take around these parts? I've really only predetermined 2 things. First, I want a god of commerce. Second, I want a fairly low magic feel, so no divine beings will be coming to visit. Considering religion is not a focus of the project, just something I want to present, I will be going with something super convenient. So that means a world pantheon. Let's say half a dozen major deities and many minor ones. The major deities, they see over all things worldwide within their realm of interest. The lesser gods are regional. So what are the must-haves among the greater gods? Death for sure, something related to the weather, something related to fertility. Although you could combine those two. Armatage's world is Earth-like with a single sun. Hence, if there is a sun god, it has to be a major worldwide god. War gods might be major gods. Same thing with gods of the sea, but Armatage won't care about that. A universal nature god is also a possibility. Let's establish Luminous as a major god. This is the god of the sun and also Mag's chosen deity. Umbar is another major god, presiding over the afterlife. The 4-headed Hydra, Amnicles, is god of the weather, each head representing either a season or a wind direction, depending upon where you're from. From Armatage, it's the wind. The Drangles are a single church, if not a single god. These represent the moons and other major objects visible in the sky. They are visualized as a tribe of monkeys. As a group, they hold equal status with the major gods. Canestra and Omen are the gods of land and sea. Beneath these are the minor gods. Important to the region are the twin serpent gods, Aaron and Iselda. Aaron is the master of the wastes, while Iselda sees over the grasslands. It is said they are braided together deep in the earth around the boundary, under the protection of their mother, Canestra. Now before I mess around and forget, Rancy Octhur is going to be our god of commerce, patron god of merchants and lord of coin. When Armatage gets around to plotting temple development, a little research is going to lead them to Desh, son of Umbar and Iselda. Yeah, we're going to go heavy with the Greek feel, lots of divine haberdashery. Desh will have a hand in the afterlife, as well as being keen on gold and other precious metals. It's a perfect divine influence for a small mining town. With a list of gods out of the way, we move to part 2. What does it all mean in the day-to-day life of Armatage? For one thing, we'll be able to talk about holidays now. Well, no, later, not now. That's for a future episode. With religious holidays prepped, it should be easy enough when the time comes. What I really want to know is how these people worship. Now, I've always liked temples. They're great architectural pieces, real foundations, visible symbols of culture in the region. So we're going to stick with that idea for Armatage. They're going to eventually have at least one physical place of worship for each of their major gods. Except that goddess of the sea. I'm not going with vengeful gods, so the town can essentially ignore her. In my most devoted cultures, religion is a full-time deal. People will randomly call out verse in public, and everyone is expected to respond with the appropriate callback. In addition, there are dozens of little sayings that people often repeat. I definitely don't want to do that here. In my Heston campaign, religion used to get ignored completely. It was very much on the back burner to other aspects of the culture. Now that is starting to change, but I want to land somewhere in the middle for Armatage. About half the population would like to go out to temple a couple of times a month. As such, religious development pairs with amenities. That's something I haven't really dealt with in the main series yet, but essentially some buildings can act as a bonus for different categories depending upon decisions made during each year's planning phase. I'm getting off into the weeds a little bit here, but a god of justice might be something that the posse is interested in as well. Watch those other episodes in the playlist if you want this stuff to really make sense. Where was I? Oh yeah, church, twice a month. We're going to have them dress for it. Something simple. Let's say a light wool scarf worn over the shoulders. We're going to give these things a name. Zara. Zara are universal in length, and they are color-coded and embroidered with the symbols of specific gods. Although there is the Uzara for those who can only afford one. In poor communities especially, it's no big deal to wear a Zara of one god to the ceremony of another. At home, words are often said before meals and when help is needed. Many families have favored gods, and those may be the ones called upon. About 1 in 3 of these households have a strip of wood with the emblems of that god, similar to those on a Zara. About 1 in 10 have a more elaborate prayer nook. Short of a temple, Diliar or prayer posts are a usual part of civic decor. These hardwood posts usually stand about 8 feet tall. They bear hooks where old Zara can be hung. These are often the site of small gatherings where a few words might be spoken by layman priests. There can be so many traditions, and some of them will come and go. It's important to remember that building culture is not just taking a screenshot, but to note what aspects are in flux. Unique to Armatage is the Ket, or 7 bars. This is something Nelly, glamour bard of the Ponderosa Posse, has innovated. It's a short musical arrangements drawn from the barbarian lands. It originally had nothing to do with any religion at all, but she has taken it over and making a thing out of it. In conjunction with Madge, she began playing a few bars at a Diliar each night at sunset to bid Luminous a good night. Nelly also plays at Desh's Diliar after most mining shifts. Real world or fantasy, barge drive culture, and Nelly plays her part. After 1 full year of promoting the idea, other performers have begun to latch on. She's planning to export her fad to civilization next time she gets back. These are calculated moves on the part of the Ponderosa Posse. They are attempting to grow community using religion. It's small steps. If you're familiar with our charts and formulas for the main economic series, it doesn't appear there. It may affect them. We'll talk about it a little bit more. This is laying the groundwork for the greater campaign. Well, that is the greater campaign that we're not actually playing, but just making up in our head to show off the economic system. And all of that, once again, is for another day. We are at our word count, my friends. Yeah, probably a little bit extra. So what lessons have we learned? We've learned that effort reaps rewards. An hour of thoughts will generate new ideas. Over the years, you build new material, layer on top of layer, and eventually you build up something that is entirely unique and innovative to yourself. Take inspiration and mold it into your own image. And you have some amazing images. You are architects of worlds, In this world, have no doubt, you matter. Thank you all for stopping by. I've had a great time with you here today. Everybody have an extraordinary rest of the day. Cheers.